Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, I'm Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer. So today's episode, as always, is brought to you by eforms.com. That's eforms.com. If you are looking to do things the smarter way rather than the harder way, go to eforms.com. If you need a lease, you need a business agreement, you need a power of attorney, just go there. You can pick up the forms easy as pie. And today we're reacting to Derek Chauvin. Now, Derek Chauvin is just been sentenced to 21 years for the killing of George Floyd. Now, one might ask, didn't he go to trial? Didn't he lose at the state level? And isn't he getting punished for two crimes, twice for the same crime? Yes, he is. But double jeopardy is a concept in law where you can't be charged by the same jurisdiction for the same crime more than once. So the state of Minnesota can't prosecute, or any state can't prosecute you twice for the same crime. However, we're dealing with two different sovereigns. That's the difference. The state of Minnesota charged him with murdering George Floyd, and he got 150 months for that. Then you have the United States government who's charged him with violating his civil rights. Now, he got 21 years with the feds, okay? And he had 150 months with the state. Why would he go do the fed last? I'll tell you why. He's going to go do his fed time first, okay? So he's going to do that 21 years first. He does 85% of his time, so that translates into roughly a little over 17 years, okay? If he were to go do his state time first, he wouldn't get credit for the fed time. But if he goes to a federal prison, he's going to get credit for the state time that he does. So, in other words, it'll be a concurrent sentence. He'll do, in the state system, you do 150, you do 100 months. You get a third off for good behavior. And so he'll wind up doing about 17 years in federal prison, less any time he's already done. And you'll notice he shaved his head recently. And, you know, depending upon where he goes, he's going to have to be in protective custody because he's going to be a target. First of all, cops generally are a target to begin with. And so he'll probably go to, there's a private prison in South Dakota. He might go to that prison. Prison life is not easy, especially in the federal system. You know, especially if you go like to East LA and he could wind up someplace like that. When you get sentenced in federal prison, the judge will try to designate you or give a recommendation, you know, and generally they try to keep you near your family, but it's up to the BOP, the Bureau of Prisons, to send you, you know, where you're going to go. And if there are co-defendants, if there are snitches, if there's, you know, other considerations, they try to accommodate those. So you're not always guaranteed to go where you hope you're going to go. And here he would probably hope to go to Sandstone. The big thing is that he does his federal time first, and that'll eat up all of his state time. So really, he'll get a pass on the state stuff. And it was a foregone conclusion as to what he was going to get. It was a predetermined amount of time that they negotiated. Is it enough? I don't know. All I know is that he finally admitted to what he did, and he had to do that in federal court because the judge will not accept a plea from anybody. You can't plead nolo contendere or no contest in federal court, especially on something like this. So he had to admit that he held him there, that it was unreasonable, that he killed him, that he violated his constitutional rights. And that was the basis for the sentence. So Chauvin's getting 21 years. He'll do 17. It'll eat up the state sentence, and it's not going to be easy time for him, you know. And the reason being he's a cop, number one, you know, hard because cops have put guys into prison, right? And so one of the first things that they do is when you get to federal prison, they want your paperwork, so they'll see who he is and they know what he did. and they'll know that he killed George Floyd. So he's going to be in protective custody in all likelihood for the entire sentence, just the way a sex offender would be. So, they call them chomos, a child molester. They wind up getting treated horribly in prison, and so they have to be protected. I know I have a close friend of mine who went to prison for 5 years for drugs, and he was in 12 prison fights. He said he won 7 of them, and it is it is not easy to do prison time, especially in the federal system. You're dealing with people who have elevated criminal activity, generally speaking, because the feds don't deal with 6 months, or once in a while you'll get something like that, but generally speaking the feds pick up bigger cases, and bigger cases mean badder people, generally speaking. And so you got bigger and badder, and if you don't show your paperwork, they think you're a snitch. If they think you're a snitch, guess what? Snitches wind up in ditches. And that's what, and he's going to have a really, really hard time. As a police officer, you can guarantee that he's going to get in more than one fight, and people will try to kill him. If you remember Jeffrey Dahmer was killed in prison. It happens. I had somebody call me just the other day. Her husband didn't have his paperwork, and they killed him. They killed him in federal prison. They don't want any snitches, and if you can't prove you're not a snitch, they're going to assume you are one. And in Chauvin's case, he's so high profile that they know who he is. They know what he did. I would be shocked, absolutely shocked, if he makes it out alive. And I don't say that with glee, because I don't think killing Chauvin does anything for anybody. But I certainly don't hold him in any high regard. That's for sure. It's just really, really difficult. So he got 21 years, and that'll eat up his state time. And not much more to say about that. So Thomas Lane, and he was the officer that was holding down the legs of Mr. Floyd. And he pled guilty recently to aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter. Second-degree manslaughter is 48 months. If you remember, he was convicted, along with the others, of violating the civil rights. Now, the difference between Thomas Lane and Derek Chauvin, obviously Derek Chauvin had his knee on his neck. And Thomas Lane, however, was holding the legs down and actually said, shouldn't we turn him over? And that is probably the mitigation that necessitated a plea agreement on, which would be a downward departure. The normal guidelines for manslaughter in the second degree in Minnesota is 48 months. And Tu Tao, the other officer who was directing traffic, he has not pled in state court yet. And I don't believe that King has pled guilty either. So what we're going to see is they're going to go to trial, those two defendants, probably some in January. So we'll see what else happens with that. And we'll see what happens with the other defendants. But Derek Chauvin, 21 years, federal prison, eat at the state sentence. And we'll see what happens with the rest of them. My heart goes out to the Floyd family. My heart goes out to anybody that's, victim of police violence. This did not need to happen. It did not need to happen. Hard to counsel a young black man in today's arena with so much shit happening. Hard to counsel them to say, just do what you're told and everything will be fine, because everything's not always fine, right? So these are just my thoughts, and we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers. Kind of a somber day. I'm not really giving you a whole lot of comedic relief on this one, but it's not really a funny topic to know that this is all because a cop went fucking apeshit on somebody who was a very low-level type of crime and didn't need to die over just a small thing. He was just having trouble and didn't do what the cop wanted at the time, so they held him down and killed him. Sad. So I'm Bruce Rivers. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, and we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face.
You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. 23-hour lockdown, police is at my call.